sharp mind that could teach her a lot. She'd been a quick learner, and the mutual respect the pair had for each other had been more than enough to counterbalance their political incompatibility. "Stan!" Lindsay exclaimed. "What a lovely surprise!" "Sight for sore eyes, you are, girl," Stan said. "You seen the error of your ways, then? You come back to grace our shores, or did you come back to get your own back?" He waved Conference Chronicle. "Only wish I'd thought of it years ago," she said. "Buy you a drink later?" "What about tomorrow morning?" "The second order paper looks like the kind of bleeding arc liberal crap that builds up no end of a thirst. Don't know why I come to these conferences, I really don't." "You've said that at every one of the half-dozen I've been to. You're only here for the beer, Stan." "Tomorrow, then. 11:30, in the bar?" Lindsay shuddered inwardly, but managed a smile. "Great. See you then, Stan," she said, as Stan moved off, giving her a smacking kiss on the cheek as he passed. By the time she reached the registration table, Lindsay had chatted to half a dozen old acquaintances who were, in a triumph of hope over experience, still union activists. She'd also studiously pretended not to have seen a couple of others she'd hoped never to encounter again. As the queue snaked forward, she spotted one or two familiar faces among the union clerical staff who were dishing out the delegate packs. Even though the full afro had been replaced by a sharp Grace Jones flat top, Lindsay instantly recognised Pauline Hardy. The black woman looked astonished. "Lindsay Gordon!" she exclaimed. "I thought you'd abandoned us for good. Hey, it's good to see you." The warmth in her voice was genuine. There was no mistaking that. "You really thought I could stay away and never feast my eyes on you again?" Lindsay replied, falling straight back into the old teasing habit of years ago. She and Pauline had always flirted, each knowing that it was nothing more than a game. Pauline's devotion to her husband and son was legendary, but that didn't stop her enjoying a joke that had shocked dozens of prejudiced union hacks over the years. "I didn't think my humble attractions could drag you back from California," Pauline replied archly. "Wild horses couldn't keep me away," Lindsay said, taking the bulky plastic wallet of information that Pauline handed her. "Not from you, or from the delights of conference. I tell you, though, it's depressing how many of the old familiar faces are kicking around. Hasn't anyone moved forward?" "Oh, there are always plenty of old stagers around. They can't stay away, just like you," Pauline teased. "Are you two going to stand there blathering all afternoon, or what?" the Irishman behind Lindsay interrupted. "Some of us have got delegation meetings to go to, you know, so—" "Women," he added under his breath. "Sorry, pal," Lindsay said. She turned back to Pauline. "We'll have to have a drink later, catch up on all the gossip." Pauline smiled. "Have a read of Conference Chronicle," she said with a throaty laugh. "That should bring you bang up to date. I'll be in the main bar about 8, provided we finish tomorrow's order papers." "See you then." Lindsay picked up her holdall and studied the plan of the 1960s campus that occupied one wall of the foyer. The map was laid out as a Romanesque mosaic, with the borders of the buildings picked out in different colours and identified in a key alongside. She worked out how to get to her room and headed out into the spring afternoon. Immediately, she had to lean into the wind that was flattening the clumps of daffodils dotting the grass. The buildings seemed to have been cunningly laid out to maximise their aerodynamic effect. It was like walking through a wind tunnel the wrong way. She thought with longing of her own campus, where a fresh breeze from the bay was often a welcome relief, where the buildings looked as if they'd actually been designed rather than thrown together by a bad-tempered child with a box of Lego. Lindsay eventually reached the lee of a tower block and looked up at its name plaque. McClintock Tower. "Not so much a red brick as a breeze block," she muttered, and pushed the door open. She joined a bunch of strangers by the lifts which ran through the centre of the modern tower block. As she waited, she pulled out the Advice for New Delegates booklet from her folder. It looked suspiciously similar to the old JU one. She couldn't imagine how something so heavily laced with irony could have been positively vetted by the pole-faced men in suits who had been print union officials when she'd been a JU activist. Maybe they'd taken it seriously. She boarded the lift, stuffing the booklet back into the folder. By the 10th and final floor, she was alone in the lift.